boys and girls, so today we're going to be going over Unit 6, Lesson 1, which is graphing linear inequalities. Before we jump in, just make sure that you write your name at the top, and then let's begin. So as we look at the do now, it says graph the equation y equals negative 2/3 x plus 2 on the set of axes below. So before I jump in here, right off the bat, I'm noticing that this is the equation of a line, y equals mx plus b. So I can see here that my slope, that m value, is going to be negative 2/3, and b, that y-intercept value, is going to be a positive 2. All right? So if you have a graphing calculator at home, or if you have that graphing calculator app, you're going to want to open that up or take that out right now. All right? Turn it on. And because, again, this is a y equal, I'm going to go to y equals, and I'm going to type in that equation. Now, if you have a graphing calculator, if I want to get a fraction, I'm going to press alpha, which is the green, and then y equals, okay? If you look at the first choice, that's giving me a fraction, so that's what I want. I'm going to press enter. Again, that was alpha, y equal, enter. So I have negative 2 over 3, all right? Then I have to arrow out, so I'm not a fraction anymore. Press x, okay, and then plus 2, all right? Now I'm going to go to the table. That's a blue word, so I have to use the blue button to activate it. So I'm going to press second graph, all right, and that pulls up my xy table for those points that I want to plot. Now when x equals 0, my y value is nice. It's 0, 2. So I'm going to add that point to my xy table on my paper, 0, 2. As I look at when x equals 1, I don't know if I want to use that y value, 4/3. I know that I could graph it, but it won't be exact, all right? So I'm actually going to skip when x equals 1, and I'm going to go to when x equals 2. Oh my gosh, it's happening again. I have another fraction. Again, I could try to graph that, but it wouldn't be exact. I'd be looking for right around, where 2/3 is. So I'm going to skip that as well, and I'm going to go to when x equals 3, because that's a nice y value of 0. So 3, 0 is another point that I would plot, because it's going to just, again, it's going to come out nice on that graph. And then I'm going to skip 4 and 5. I'm going to go right to 6. I'm going to plot that value of 6, negative 2. All right? I have to plot at least 3 points in order for me to get full credit for an equation when I'm graphing. So now that I have those 3 points, I'm going to get this out of the way, and I'm going to start plotting those. So when I graph on the x-axis, x moves left and right, y moves up and down. And I always want to start at the origin when I graph. So from the origin, which is 0, 0, my first point is 0, 2. So that means x will not go left or right. My y value is 2. I just go up 2, 1, 2. This would be the point 0, 2. Next, I have 3, 0. Again, from the origin, if x is 3, that's a positive 3. That means I want to move to the right. 1, 2, 3. Y is 0, so I don't go up or down. That's the point 3, 0. And then last but not least, 6, 2. From the origin, my x is a positive 6, so that means I go to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Y is negative 2, so I want to go down. 1, 2. This is the point 6, negative 2. Now with a ruler, if you have one at home, if not, that's okay. You just want to go back and you want to connect those points to form that nice line that we should have graphed, our linear equation. Line is in the word linear, all right? Lines go on forever, so I'm going to have arrows at both ends, and I am officially done. If I want to go one extra step, I can always label that line. Y equals negative 2/3 x plus 2. All right, you would have to do this if I had more than one line graphed. All right, but since I don't, I could have labeled it. I could have left it off. It's totally up to you. All right, so as we move down here and we look at the lesson for today, we're going to be graphing not equations, but inequalities. So let me grab my highlighter here, and I want to get that highlighted out. So we are graphing not linear equations, but again, linear inequalities. All right, I know that this is going to be an inequality because as I look, this is not y equals negative 2/3 x plus 2, like we just saw. In the do now up top, there's no equal sign. There's an inequality sign instead. All right, so when I graph an inequality, it's very similar to when we graph equations. There's just about 2 more extra steps that we have to remember to do. All right, so here we go. On the side, I'm still going to create my XY table, and I don't have to type this into my graphing calculator because it's the same function as the do now. So I already know what those points are going to be that I want to plot. 0, 2, 3, 0, and 6, negative 2. Again, just like the do now, I want to plot those points. So I have 0, 2, 3, 0, and 6, negative 2. So I plotted my points. Number 1, I want to isolate y to one side. Isolate means get y by itself. Y was already by himself, so I was able to almost skip the first step. Check, I was done, and I was able to jump right into step 2, which was graphing the line, all right, plotting those points. So now that I've plotted my points, I've moved on to step 3. So step 3 and step 4 are going to be new for today. This is those extra steps I was talking about when it comes to graphing an inequality. Step 3 says I have to draw or I have to graph that line. Now, if it was an equation like the do now, it's always going to be a nice solid line that I would plot, all right? But when it's an inequality, it's a little bit different. I have to check. If I'm going to graph a dashed line, that's going to have a less than or a greater than symbol as the inequality. And if it's a solid line, that would have a less than or equal to or a greater than or equal to symbol, all right? And the way that I remember it is if I want a solid line, I should have a solid line in the inequality, okay? If I don't, it would be dashed. These guys don't have the solid line, so it would be dashed. All right, so I'm going to look back at my equation here. I'm sorry, my inequality. So this is the inequality that I was given, less than or equal to. If I look at my notes, if it's less than or equal to, that has a solid line, that's what I want to graph, a solid line. So again, with my ruler, even if if you don't have one, that's okay, boys and girls, just do your best here. I'm again going to create a solid line. Lines go on forever, so I'm going to have arrows at the top and the bottom. And then last but not least, step 4, I also have to shade, all right? And that's going to look a little bit different here. Let's add these notes. I'm going to shade above the line if I have a greater than symbol. So if it's greater than, like this guy, or if it's greater than or equal to, like this guy, that would be shading above the line that I've graphed. If I want to shade below the line that I've graphed, that would have to have a less than symbol, all right? Like this one here, because that is just less than, or this one here, less than or equal to. Okay, that would again be below the line. So as I look at this inequality, this is less than or equal to. Here's my left hand. If I make an L with my left hand, it matches that symbol. That's how I know it's the less than symbol. Less than tells me to shade below. So I'm going to take my pen or pencil and put it on the line, and then I want to be right below the line, below it. All right, so all of these values that I'm right now shading in would work if I plugged them in as a value for x. All right, all of these would work. If you guys remember back from middle school, you used to put a big S here to show that all of those values would be solutions to this inequality. All right, these points that I plotted on my solid line, those would also be solutions to my inequality, because a solid line means equal to. So I can be less than those values, like these guys down here, or I can equal these values that are on the line as well. All right, that's basically what we're going to do today. So let's flip and go to the next page. So again, as we read the directions, it says graph each of the following linear inequalities. I'm so sorry, I don't know what's going on here, guys. Okay, here we go. It says circle whether each line will be dashed or solid, and we want to decide how the shading is going to be. Should it be above or below? So again, the only thing that's important here right now is that inequality, okay? If it's just the less than inequality, that tells me that I want to shade. I'm sorry, if it's the less than inequality, that tells me that I want to have a dashed line, all right? And because it's just less than, less means below, greater means above. All right, so this means I want to shade below. All right, so that's the very first step. I want to decide if it's going to be a solid line or a dashed line. And then I have to decide how I'm going to shade, if it's going to be above or below. All right, so now I'm going to turn on my graphing calculator and I'm going to start solving this just like I would a linear function. I'm going to type this into my graphing calculator, 2x minus 4. All right, go to my table here and I see I have some nice points that I can plot. So on the side, I'm going to copy over that XY table. All right, let me move this over just a smidge. So sorry, guys. All right, so we have 0, negative 4. Next, we have 1, negative 2. And then we have 2, 0. All right, let's do one more just for practice, 3, 2. All right, you always want to graph 3 to 5 points just to make sure you get that full credit on the regions, okay? If you graph anything less than 3, like only 1 or 2 points, you are not going to earn credit for the graph. It has to be 3 or more. All right, now I'm going to start plotting these points. 0, negative 4, so that tells me to just go down 1, 2, 3, 4. Here I am. Next, I have the point 1, negative 2, so that's to the right 1, down 2. Next, I have 2, 0, that's to the right 2. I don't go up or down because y is 0. And then we have 3, 2, which is right here. All right, again, as a refresher, x moves left and right, y moves up and down, and you are always starting at the origin. All right, now a habit is that any time we graph a line, you guys, after you plot those points, and me too, right? We always want to just graph our ruler and then just draw a straight line, but that's not going to be true for these inequalities. I have to be careful. This tells me I want to have a dashed line because this is just the less than symbol. Okay, if it was less than or equal to, it would be solid, but since it's just less than, I have to dash it out. I should see breaks on that line. So step 1, dashed line, I'm good to go. Number 2, now I want to shade below the line. So as I follow those steps from before, I put my pen or pencil on the line, and if I want to be below, I just go below the line. If I were to go up, that would be above, but I want to go down for below. And this shows me where I should be shading. All right. And I am officially done with example 2. Let's do another one. Let's look at example 3. Again, the most important piece of information here, guys, is going to be that inequality symbol. Here we go, greater than or equal to. Okay, a little hint here. I see this is a solid line, so I know that when I'm graphing, it should be a solid line. Next, I have to decide if it's above or below. Well, this is the greater than symbol. Greater is above. All right, and then again, we know the less than symbol. Here's my left hand. This would be the less than symbol for my left hand. This is opposite, so that must be the greater than symbol. All right, and that tells me to shade above. Here we go, same thing. I'm going to just create an XY table on the side here. I'm going to grab my handy dandy graphing calculator, and I'm going to type this in. Negative 2x, all right, plus 1. And then I'm going to go right to my table, which is second graph. And here I have some points that I can plot. All right, so I'm going to copy these over. So I have 0, 1, 1, negative 1, 2, negative 3. And again, let's do one more for practice, 3, negative 5. All right, so now that I have those points, I'm going to go ahead and plot them on my graph over here. So from the origin 0, 1, I don't go left or right for x, I just go up 1 for y. From the origin, I have 1, negative 1. From the origin, I have positive 2, negative 3. And again, from the origin, I have positive 3, negative 5. If I check back, I can see this is going to be a solid line. So with my graphing, with my ruler here, I am going to connect those points for a solid line. And then last but not least, it says I want to shade above. So I'm going to just stick my pen or pencil on the line. Above would be greater than, so I know I want to go up. All right. And you guys want to make sure that these lines that you're using to shade are nice and long. It should be going all the way through the graph. All right. And again, now I would be completely done with example 3. All right. I want you guys to try the next few on your own, and then you can check back for the answers in a bit. All right, boys and girls, so here's the answers for 3, 4, 5, and 6. So as you look here at 3 and 4, I just wanted to really talk about number 4 for a minute. I know that if I had started when x equals 0, I would have had 3 nice points that I could have plotted to get that line. But I just wanted to remind you that if you don't have enough, you can always go backwards in the calculator and look at those negative x values instead, and you can always plot those as well. All right, so I just plotted a ton just for practice, just to show you you could do that as well. But again, as we look at number 3, I have the greater than symbol that's going to be dashed in above because it is greater. Okay, and I don't see that less than. I don't see a solid line here. That's why it'll be dashed. And then if I look at number 4, it's a little bit different. This is less than or equal to. I do have the solid line, so I will make it like that when I graph. And then less than, if I look at my left hand here, they match less than left hand, so I know that would be below. And then quickly as we look at 5 and 6 here, 5 and 6, again, I'm making sure to write down that XY table. All right, I'm going slowly through the graphing. I want to check if it's dashed or solid, above or below. All right, and just make sure that I'm not making any mistakes as I go through. All right, again, 5 was just greater than, so that's going to be dashed and above. 6 was greater than or equal to, so this would be solid and above. All right, make sure that you guys get that closure done on your own here at the bottom. All right, it's telling you that Shauna is making a mistake, so make sure you carefully check to see what that mistake is going to be. And then last but not least, just make sure that you get that homework on the last page done. It was numbers 1 and 2. All right, have a great day.